All right. Yeah, thank you all and good afternoon for joining. Good afternoon and thank you for joining the pre-course section of the IoT and data visualization training. This is the pre-course section, very similar to what you would have when you go to the university to go and learn more about the courses that you want to, undertake without university. So just like an open day in the university. And the reason why we do the pre-course training is so that we can help prospective student to understand what a course is all about. We do that pretty much for most of our courses, because we, from experience, we discovered that a lot of people do buy courses that, they either buy under duress or they end up signing up for a course that they do not even have a clue about. We understand that you can go to the website and read a little bit about the course, but sometimes, it's better when you have a one-on-one interaction with either the course tutor or the owner of the business. They are able to explain what the course is all about to you. So the whole idea today is so, we can educate you. You can leave here with an informed decision for yourself, and you can come back to us and say, hey, Wale, hey, Mike, I think this course is for me, and for that reason, I want to sign up. So the whole idea is so that you can leave here with an informed decision. You can leave here with a whole lot of knowledge about what IoT and data visualization have to offer, and you can go and come back with an informed decision, or make a decision for yourself on whether you think this is this is the course for you, or whether you have made it the right decision to go ahead with this course. So without wasting a lot of time today, I have with me some of you, you know about us, and if you're new to our platform, our name is SMARTLearning. You can see there, SMARTLearning, and our aim is to develop human capital. All right, so that we can impact knowledge onto you, and you can take that knowledge away and you can monetize it. You know what I mean? You can go out there and begin to apply for jobs, get jobs, and earn good money. All right, so that is everything about us. So we are a cybersecurity training organization, but we do not just limit ourselves to cybersecurity related courses alone. We understand that some people out there that perhaps do not understand what cybersecurity is, and they have other areas of interest, like IoT, like data visualization. They wanted to become business intelligent analysts, they want to become a project manager, they want to become a business analyst. So we take time to also train other courses as well. So the course that we're going to be talking to you about today is the IoT and the data visualization. But it's also important, for you to know or to learn a little bit about, the person or the tutor, who's going to help or who's going to undertake this training itself. And that person is Mike Lakoju. So Mike is a data scientist and is also an IoT security consultant with over 12 years experience. So he has been in the industry for a while, and he has learned the trade, and he can with the amount of experience that he has gathered over time, he can definitely impart that onto anyone that is interested. He developed a big data strategy framework that help organization to identify the potential value of a big data project. He has expertise in Internet of Things. Some of you, you might be learning about or hearing about Internet of Things for the first time today. Do not worry, don't be scared. Because I have with me Mike, someone that has been in this industry for a very long time, who is able to demystify, what Internet of Things is and how that can actually benefit you. He also has, experience around operational technology, security, machine learning, artificial intelligence, data visualization, information technology security, and security architecture modeling. So he's a bag of experience. And on top of that, is a PhD holder in this field of expertise that I have mentioned. So I'm not just bringing anybody to you, but I'm bringing somebody, that is knowledgeable, not only knowledgeable in that industry, but also have years of experience, proven years of experience in the field of IoT and data visualization. So Mike, Mike is going to be doing the presentation today. In between me and Mike, we're going to be flipping the slide. I'm going to be coming up or at some point, to be explaining a few things. But 70% of the job, or 70% of the presentation, will be done by Mike. So I want you to listen attentively. This is interactive. Please use the chat box. If you have to ask any questions, and if you want to sign up for the course, you have our telephone number. I'll post it there. Please, by all means, send me an email or telephone me. I'm more than happy to answer any queries that you might have. We have our website there. I'm going to be posting that shortly, where you can learn more about this course. So without wasting time, I would like to welcome Mike Lakoju, who's going to be taking us further in this presentation. Mike, over to you. Mike, over to you.
Thank you. I was trying to unmute myself, but I think yours was holding me back. Thank you very much, Wale.
Yeah.
I believe I'm very loud and clear now.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. So thank you very much. Hi, everyone. Very quickly, I'm going to talk about IoT and data visualization. And I would kind of first start by painting a picture of why and how I kind of jumped into data visualization. So I was consulting for oil and gas company in Nigeria called the NMPC, and I was consulting SAP at the time. And I began to notice a trend. I began to notice that the environment, the landscape was changing. There I was working for an oil and gas company, but then I started to notice that even SAP as a company began to shift their business strategy. I was working as a development consultant for SAP, a module called ABAP, that's Advanced Business Application Programming Language at the time, and we're delivering a project around human capital management, business logistics, supply chain, payroll, and then the employee self-service and manager self-service. But I noticed that even though we're dealing with oil, there was a shift, and then data has suddenly become the new oil. I noticed that the organization was hinged around data. We're building an infrastructure, a repository for them that would have a single point of truth for the organization. I began to understand that there was this wave that people started to talk about. They called it big data. I was wondering, what does that mean? And then that was how I got interested, and I began to start to learn about data, and then I started to pursue my other degrees. And then, but you might begin to ask yourself, why are people so interested about data now? The truth is, there's absolutely no job that you do today in our current generation that is not related or hinged around data. If you want to go into the financial sector, if you want to go into the oil and gas, if you want to go into retail, if you want to go into supply chain, if you want to even go into medicine, there's absolutely nothing. The decision makers, they now have realized that you need to actually make those decisions based on information that you can trust. And then there's an explosion of information. There's an explosion of access to information. But the question is, how then do we make sense out of the data? Because it's useless. It's absolutely useless until you are able to actually harness it, understand it, and then use that for a strategic advantage. So companies are competing, and they want to outdo themselves. Customers, manufacturers, they want to create products, but they want to also satisfy the customers. How do they do that? And the only way they're doing that, and the only way to actually do that right now, or the better way to do that, is to do it from an informed perspective. And that is your visualization. So I'm going to talk a bit, this is our agenda for today. facts about IoT and data visualization. And then I'm going to talk about the training approach and kind of jobs that you could target. And then how we could help. And Wale is going to jump in at some point, and then we'll take it from there. So, facts about IoT and data visualization. So before we actually go further, I want to show you a short video. So
visualization is right at the heart of my own work too. I teach global health. And I know having the data is not enough. I have to show it in ways people both enjoy and understand. Now, I'm going to try something I've never done before. Animating the data in real space, with a bit of technical assistance from the crew. So, here we go. First, an axis for health, life expectancy, from 25 years to 75 years. And down here, an axis for wealth, income per person, $400,000, $4,000, and $40,000. So down here is poor and sick, and up here is rich and healthy. Now, I'm going to show you the world 200 years ago, in 1810. Here come all the countries. Europe brown, Asia red, Middle East green, Africa south of Sahara blue, and the Americas yellow. And the size of the country bubbles show the size of the population. In 1810, it was pretty crowded down there, wasn't it? All countries were poor. Life expectancy were below 40 in all countries. And only the UK and the Netherlands were slightly better off. Not much. Now, I start the world. The Industrial Revolution makes countries in Europe and elsewhere move away from the rest. But the colonized countries in Asia and Africa, they are stuck down there. And eventually, the Western countries get healthier and healthier. And now we slow down to show the impact of the First World War, the Spanish flu epidemic. What a catastrophe! And now I speed up through the 1920s and the 1930s. And in spite of the Great Depression, Western countries forged on towards greater wealth and health. Japan and some others tried to follow, but most countries stay down here. Now, after the tragedies of the Second World War, we stop a bit to look at the world in 1948. 1948 was a great year. The war was over, Sweden topped the medal table at the Winter Olympics, and I was born. But the differences between the countries of the world was wider than ever. United States was in the front, Japan was catching up, Brazil was way behind, Iran was getting a little richer from oil, but still had short lines. And Asian giants, China, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Indonesia, they were still poor and sick on here. Look what is about to happen. Here we go again. In my lifetime, former colonies gained independence, and then finally they started to get healthier and healthier and healthier. And in the 1970s, then countries in Asia and Latin America started to catch up with Western countries. They became emerging economies. Some in Africa follows. Some Africans were stuck in civil war and others hit by HIV. And now we can see the world today in the most up-to-date statistics. Most people today live in the middle, but there are huge differences at the same time between the best of countries and the worst of countries. There are also huge inequalities within countries. These bubbles show country averages, but I can split them. Take China, I can split it into provinces. There goes Shanghai. It has the same wealth and health as Italy today. And there is the poor inland province Guizhou. It is like Pakistan. And if I split it further, the rural parts are like Ghana in Africa. And yet, despite the enormous disparities today, we have seen 200 years of remarkable progress. That huge historical gap between the West and the rest is now closing. We have become an entirely new converging world. And I see a clear trend into the future with aid, trade, green technology, and peace it's fully possible that everyone can make it to the healthy, wealthy corner. Well, what you have seen in the last few minutes.
Okay, so what you've actually just seen is data being visualized. He's been able to tell a story using of 200 countries over 200 years. And he did that in about 4 minutes. Imagine having a spreadsheet of all of that information. Would you have been able to drive that kind of information or derive that kind of information from the data set? It's absolutely impossible. You need to explore the data visually to be able to derive some of those fantastic insights that he was actually getting at. And guess what? That's precisely what companies need today. There is a huge, huge drive. There's a huge, huge drive for people with data skills. How data literate are you? Now, I'm sure a lot of you have been hearing a lot of things around some buzzwords. Some of the buzzwords that are flying around these days are like things like big data, artificial intelligence, machine learning, cybersecurity, blockchain, and all of the sorts. Now, what's the one thing that all of this have in common? The one thing that all of these buzzwords have in common, including cybersecurity, is the data. The data is the asset. So how literate are you in data? Take, for instance, the slide we have up right now. Now, this is a spectrum of smart things. Now, we're jumping into what is called the Internet of Things. The Internet of Things is a combination of sensors that can basically, in a very layman's term, give you data. You are placing sensors on products, and for those products to be able to understand how those products can actually function, or they are creating some new valued added service by embedding those sensors to give their customer segments different kinds of satisfaction. But this IoT of a thing is also opening up the possibility for for manufacturers to begin to understand their customers better. But what do I mean? Look at the screen. Look at how we have a spectrum of smart stuff. Look at the business stores manufacturing area. They're dealing with real-time analytics of supply chain, equipment, robotic machinery. You've heard of things, I'm sure you've heard of things like predictive analytics, maintenance, or you're seeing cars today, or if in transportation, which accounts for about 4.1%, where you have smart cars, driverless cars that can actually drive themselves, or cars that can actually park themselves. How do you think the cars do that? They do that with sensors embedded on those devices. Those sensors are generating data in real time. But how do the companies even make those cars even improve the manufacturing process, improve the design, improve the user experience? It's by understanding the data. So how can you actually move forward without understanding that data? That's the question you need to begin to think. Again, that's a rhetorical question I'm asking you today as we go on. Look at the retail industry or the healthcare. When last did you visit the GP? Did you notice some of the scales and even your bathroom scale, for instance? I remember the scales that they used to have in those times. They were really old scales with probably you need to use your hand to swing, slide the thing to the left or to the right, and then with the balance in the middle. I can't remember what it's called, but I remember seeing those those machines way back. But today you have very smart scales that you stand on it. You can actually calculate your BMI and all of those kind of statistics. You have blood pressure machines that you can actually check your blood pressure at home. They're digital. You have different medical devices that they are embedding with sensors. Take a very popular one, for instance, your Fitbit wristwatch, your smart wristwatch. The wristwatch checks your heartbeat, checks how much if you've sat down for too long, it tell you, hey, you need to stand up and take a walk. How are they doing that? Okay, I'm sure you didn't know, but let me tell you, your iPhone or your Android phone, do you know they have sensors? Do you know, as a matter of fact, one of the things we'll be looking at even in the IoT course, I'll be showing some examples of generating your own data from your IoT device or potentially your Android. But yeah, I use Apple, so I will show you Apple, but the same principle. Now, think about it. When you hold your phone facing face front, how come when you turn the phone to the side, how do you think your phone knows to flip the screen? How do you think that happens? Those are sensors, IoT sensors embedded in your phone. Now the data is being generated also. Now you see on papers or on the news that, Google is acquiring this, Facebook acquired WhatsApp. Why? Why do you think they did that? What do you think is that? What do you think is the fuel? What do you think is that thing that they're chasing after? What makes Facebook so successful? Why? It's the data. But then, if you're having all of this volume of data, how big is this data? Is this data truly big? Now, allow me to first press escape here to show you my screen, and let me show you something. Now, what you see here is that right now, this is 2:26 p.m. and today is Saturday, and I'm currently in Cardiff. What you see counting right now is real-time statistics of the number of tweets that are being sent down to the nanosecond. That's over 453 million tweets, if I'm correct, if my math is still correct. Or before I jump there, let's look at this one. This is internet. These are the number of users that are currently online. Over 4 billion people right now. I'm not talking about yesterday. I'm talking about right now that you're hearing my voice. My voice, exactly. That's the number of people that are actually online. But to a manufacturer, to a business, what does this mean? Now, let me give you an example and let me paint a picture for you. Now, imagine that you own a business, and perhaps let's use any random business. Let's say you are Starbucks. Now, you are Starbucks. Everybody likes coffee. They have cakes there. And then perhaps you are interested in knowing the perception of people. How do people feel? What's people's perception about my coffee this week? What would be the best way to actually understand this, or one of the best ways to understand this? Well, before you may think about it that, hey, I want to go and ask people questions like a survey or write questions, or perhaps I could look into Twitter. Do you know people are fond of tweeting about their experiences about things? They're tweeting about hashtags this, hashtag that. Perhaps if I look into that 1%, because Twitter, again, they sell their data. However, they are very generous to give you 1% of tweets. Every, I think, 1 hour, you are able to collect 1%. You can refresh that. That 1% is already too much data, if I may put it that way. What is 1% of that? Of over 400 and something million tweets. And then you do a filter, for instance. Do a filter on any hashtag that's related to your product. You can begin to understand the sentiment of people, their perception. How was your last advert? How did the last advert you put out for your company, how did that actually do good to your company? How do you know that? How would you know that? What would be an unbiased way of actually checking that? It's by evaluating the data. And you might say, where would I get that data? Data is heavily being generated in huge, huge numbers. The figures, let me show you this. Okay. Now, I have right here in my hand, I'm holding a breadboard. Now, a breadboard of an Arduino. Let me see. Okay. Okay, so I'm holding a breadboard and I have with me a sensor. The sensor is generating a lot of data as I'm talking to you also. I'm actually holding it and it's actually, sorry, so it's, anyway, if it comes back up, I'll show you. I don't want to unplug it. So anyway, I have the BNO055 sensor here with me. I was going to show you how much data is being generated just by holding the device itself. Now, by having that information, I can begin to understand how I'm holding the sensor, how I'm holding the device, how I'm moving, the motion I'm generating with the device, and the kind of information I can generate from just knowing that information can help me build products that can satisfy certain constraints. For example, I'm working on a project right now that is interested in manufacturing. how manufacturing companies can better understand the customer segments to improve the products and build better products. And how are we doing that? We're doing that by looking at the data, but not data that people are actually feeding us, but data about the product usage. And how do we achieve that? By embedding sensors on the product itself. Now, you might begin to ask, how do we accomplish all of that? How would you do that? Now, the reason and the way to do that is by data visualization. Now, let me put back the screen. Hold on 1 second. Okay. There you go. But what is visualization? What is this thing called data visualization? What's the hype about it? What does it really mean? Now, I like this dictionary definition. It says the power or process of forming a mental picture or vision of something not actually present to the sight. An internal or cognitive activity to remember to imagine. Now, we've heard that statement that a picture tells 1,000 words. It's very true. It's very true. Sometimes the emotion, and that's why most people love movies. You watch something, you see it, then you can relate to it. There's certain emotions that are driven from just actually seeing that image. If I tell you the boy is crying, it's different from when you see the boy actually crying. You see what I mean? Now, look at the second definition. It's a creation of a physical artifact, problem solving by representing it so as to make the solution transparent. Now, it is interesting, but then when you dive into data visualization specifically, there are about 3 things that mostly we can categorize that you're going to be doing. One is exploration. That's the art of discovering, insights from the data, sense making to understand what is actually happening. What is happening? What is happening around XYZ question? You have a question, then you collect data and you're trying to answer that question. So you're trying to understand a certain problem. And again, communication. So there's decision making. You want to be able to communicate that insight. Now, you see the beauty about artificial intelligence, machine learning, and all of that. You can develop fantastic models, beautiful models that will do certain predictions, do some time series analysis and forecasting. But would you imagine that the management of the organization will now come to you and you'll be showing them some mathematical equations? No. As a matter of fact, they would be wondering how they hired you to do that. No. He wants you to do the mathematical, or whoever is interested in the maths to do the maths. He would want the people that have the skills in storytelling of that visualization of the data. So after they get you that data, they do what their prediction, they give it to you. How then would you present it to your management? It's by creating fantastic visualizations. Visualizations that can then help you to derive those insights, to tell the story of the data. Now, the course is combined with IoT because IoT is a big deal right now. But then when you have the IoT, you understand IoT, you go through the foundations of IoT. It's important to begin to understand that you need to be data literate. And being data literate means that you have the capacity to become a business intelligence analyst. Okay. Now, when you jump into visual analytics, I love these 2 definitions. One says that is the science of analytical reasoning facilitated by interactive visual interfaces. Another one says is the visual analytics combines automated analysis techniques with interactive visualizations for an effective understanding, reasoning, and decision-making on the basis of very large and complex data sets. So one thing is very sure. You can see how large data is. I just showed you an example of how many people are online right now, as in right now. And I've showed you examples of also how many tweets were sent just today. Imagine if you were just interested in tweets, messages that were just between the last 5 days. You can imagine the volume of data. As a matter of fact, some companies, it costs them too much to keep data for too long. So they have some kind of a pipeline they build and strategy around how much data they want to keep, how much data they have to let go. A lot of companies sell this data. When I mean sell, I'm talking about millions of pounds. They sell data that expensive. That's why companies are merging. That you see companies buying other companies. But you see, the art of storytelling, the art of data visualization has to do a lot with storytelling. Like the first video I showed you. The video showed how he told the story about the entire, with the populations and all of that. He told a story, but he was able to tell the story using the data and then insights he was gleaning from the data. But you know the way the human mind works. The human mind has the capacity, according to scientists, has the capacity to be able to store about 2 to 3 chunks of information. But what do I mean by that? What does 2 or 3 chunks of information? You know, it's sometimes, I laugh when I think about this, because as human beings, we practice certain techniques of things that most times we don't actually know the relevance of what we're doing. Now, I'll give an example. For those of you that have children, or you have very young siblings, have you noticed that when you want to start to teach them their ABC or 1, 2, 3, you tend to teach them the ABC like a song? What do I mean? When you want to teach a child ABC, you go A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So you form a song. Now, what you are doing is that you are creating one chunk of data, one chunk of memory. If you break that down, you have A, B, C, D. If you're teaching the child A, B, C, D, it becomes a bit more difficult than teaching the child one song. You see that? You're teaching him one song. So the human mind has the capacity to store about 2 to 3 chunks of information at a time. So when you are able to break it down, that's why most times when we're in universities back then, we used to form acronyms for different formulas and mathematical equations. We form formulas and some, Father Friday fried 5 fish, and you have FFF. You see, we form those things, but what you are actually doing, you are helping to code for your brain. You are creating a chunk of information that your mind can actually take. But then, guess what? Sometimes you tend to miss what you are not looking for. What you are not looking for, you may miss it even though it's right at your face. So I'll give you an example, and this time I want your response. So please, very quickly in the chat box, I'm going to ask you a question. I would like you to quickly tell me, how many toothbrushes do you see in this picture? I haven't seen responses, so please type your response into the box. How many do you see? Any more responses? Okay. Fantastic. Okay, so thank you. We're getting responses. Now, let's begin to see. Did you notice this toothbrush? Okay. But did you notice this one? Did you notice this big blue one right next to the mirror? You see, the reason why, yes, some people saw it. Some may not have seen it immediately. The reason why, you would not expect a toothbrush to be that big. So, but mentally, when you talk about a toothbrush, your mind goes here. Hey, that's this normal size of a toothbrush. So you see that, but you miss this. You see what I mean? Sometimes there's certain information that are right there in front of you, but you miss it because you are not looking out for it. You don't know how to look at it. But that's why you need tools like Tableau, visualization tools that will allow you explore the data to look for insight, to find patterns, to find things that are connecting. And then you can begin to tell a story that your management can then base their decision on. Okay, let's ask another question. Now, again, in the chat box, I'm going to show you a video. I want you to help me count how many passes the team in white make. How many passes do the team in white make? How many passes does the team in white make?
This is an awareness test. How many passes does the team in white make?
What's your answer? Can you put your answers in the check box now? So we have 12, we have 13, we have 14, we have 12, we have 13, we have 13, we have 12, we have 13. Okay, great. 12, okay. We have 15. Okay, okay, great. So that's great. Actually, the answer is 13. However, did you see the moonwalking bear in the picture? Did you see the dancing bear in the picture? Could you also answer that, yes or no? Did you see the, okay. So I get no, I hear a yes, I hear a no. Okay, let's play and let's see. Then watch this.
The answer is 13. But did you see the moonwalking bear?
So that was the moonwalking bear. And he was right there in your face, but you didn't see it. You see? Sometimes there's so much information, insights, valuable insights that you can glean from the information you have. Dots, connections, patterns that can help you influence that critical decision. But if you don't begin to get this skill, as a matter of fact, there are publications that say your experience has to be able to visualize data is a valuable skill that will be required from practically every organization in a very short while. People will not be able to function without being able to derive these decisions or help them make sense. Now, it is in your interest to begin to prepare yourself and move into understanding how to tell stories with data, how to visualize data, how to be data literate, how you can actually converse with people from a data perspective. And we're going to use a tool that is really fantastic, a tool that is easy to, it will be very easy for you to transition with, a tool that is in very high demand in the industry right now, which is Tableau. Tableau prides themselves with the art of creating a tool that people can readily begin to create dashboards, visualizations from. And you would see that when we start to go through the course. Now, I'll ask you another question. How many fives can you count in this sequence? Please tell me your answer. How many fives can you count in this sequence? Please paste your answer in the chat box again. How many fives do you count in this sequence? It's a bit difficult. I notice people have not been able to do that. Now, the reason why is this. Now, if I do this, does it become easier for you? You see, now by simply highlighting the fives, it begins to pop out. A pop-out effect on that five. You see, the fives pop out. It becomes much easier to be able to find certain things within the visual, the visual that we have right there. Now, this is part of what you'll be doing with the tool and the hands-on training we're going to have. We're going to start the training, obviously, with the IoT first. We'll get the foundations of IoT, and then we'll have to then jump into the data visualization. It's going to be hands-on. I'll talk a bit more about that. But I'm really, really excited about this because, it's fun when you like what you do. When you enjoy what you do, it becomes much easier going to work. Because I know most times when people go to work, you don't find satisfaction in what you do. But when you love what you do, going to work becomes really nice, especially when you begin to enjoy what you do. And that's how data visualization is for me. And I know it's going to be that way for a lot of you that would be part of the course. You begin to fall in love with the art of telling story, and you begin to see how you become very relevant in this new generation that we're in this new technological advancement, that the wave of technological advancements hitting companies, organizations, and industries around the world. You begin to learn how to use a tool like Tableau. We're going to actually also look at how to even do some data pre-processing with your Excel to manipulate data quickly with Excel before you feed it into Tableau. But then I want to show you something else. Now, there's this visualization by Minard about the Napoleon invasion in Russia. It's one of the best statistical drawings ever created. And we're going to look at it. We're going to try and make sense out of it. But before we do that, it will be important to understand, I don't know how many people have heard about the Napoleon March. And then you'll be able to understand, if you don't know the story, let me give you a brief about the story before we then see how we can tell the story with just one graphic. So it was about in the year 1812, where the Napoleon is doing pretty well for himself. He has most of the Europe he had most of Europe under his control then, except for the UK. So no matter how many times he tried to invade them, he couldn't break through their defenses. His plan was to place an embargo on them, forcing the other European countries to stop trade with the UK, which would weaken them enough so that Napoleon could then invade them and take over very easily. Now, Caesar Alexander of Russia sees that Napoleon was becoming too powerful, so he refuses to participate in this embargo. And then this made Caesar angry, Alexander very angry. So Napoleon gathers a massive army, over 400,000 men, to attack Russia. This was around June in 1812. So while Russia's troops were also quite numerous, but they were not anywhere close to Napoleon's army. So Russian troops kept retreating as Napoleon kept marching forward. But what the Russians were doing, they were burning their villages as they were retreating. So as Napoleon gets there, then there's no food to even eat to sustain that large army. And if there's anything we all know about Russia, we know Moscow is very cold. By the time they eventually get to Moscow, Napoleon could not even claim victory. His men, he had lost a lot of men. There were plagues, there were diseases, there were famine, and there was hunger. Now, let's see how that looks from the brief story I've given you with one visual graphic. Now, if you look to the extreme left begins with Napoleon's army, over 400,000 men, starting off from here. Now, if you notice that this brown indicates the army, the size of the army, and the move to the right is indicating how they marched forward, right? How they marched forward up on to when they got to Moscow. By the way, by the time they got to Moscow, they had only 100,000 men. And then this black line is showing you the Napoleon march back to his origin. By the time he came back with only 10,000 men. And here you are seeing at different time intervals the temperature. Look at the temperature here, -9 degrees, 21 degrees, -21 degrees, by the way. Then we have -20 degrees here. So you can see that even in the army here, about 50,000 men were broke out, obviously fighting some smaller battles, and then trying to join back here with the other armies. But you can see Russia kept burning down their cities as they were moving back and kept burning moving back. So by the time Napoleon comes with a large army, they don't even see food to eat. He couldn't feed the army. This graphic has simply told the entire story I told you just a short while ago with just one single graphic. Now that's the power of visualization. That's the power of being able to combine many attributes, many key things, both colors, both markers, to be able to tell the story of the information you are trying to convey. Okay? Now, let's jump over to Tableau. Let me show you something. Now, this is the Tableau interface. A lot of you will get to see it. And just by any chance, you do remember the first video I showed you. Now, here we have 4 different data sets that combine, of course, population, fertility rate, life expectancy, countries. We have the fertility rate there, and basically this is the Tableau interface. If I click clear here, you begin to see the countries, the fertility rate, the life expectancy, just like the video that you saw quite early at the beginning of the training. You see, with Tableau, you can begin to animate, you can build visualizations, you can create maps to understand different key functions. Like there, you can begin to use certain things very quickly. You might decide that, hey, you might want to see this in color, to be able to see the countries, to mark the countries, to be able to zoom in, to be able to zoom out, to indicate, oh, this is Algeria, what's that? There's so many things you can begin to do. Now, when we start the training, and we will do a jump into a lot of things, we'll go through the basic functions, we'll look at what the difference is between dimensions and measures. We would understand that even from, like he said, the size of the bubble shows the population there. When you hover around the particular, it can indicate the population of the country or the particular region. So that's China. What's this one here? That's sub-Saharan Africa, Niger. And then you can begin to appreciate different things. That's the Congo. You can see the fertility rate. You can see the population size and all of those things. And then the colors. You can begin to see how the color regions help you separate the regions. And very visually, you can begin to build certain things. So, well, I just wanted to show you that before we jump into that. So hold on again. Okay. Now, let me mention a few of the things that we'll be covering now, specifically on the hands-on approach. So we'll look at things from like a bit of the data pre-processing around Excel. Excel is a powerful tool, but you also need to be very careful because depending on how you actually even open certain data set with Excel, you can actually wreck your data. Yeah. As a data analyst, as a business analyst, business intelligence analyst, you probably might need to know that. I'll show you 1 or 2 things very quickly with Excel when we start the training on data pre-processing to understand how you can manipulate your data to prepare it a bit before you then start to do some certain analysis, especially when you have some timestamp data like we do have in IoT, when you're probably looking at some time series analysis and all of those kind of things. We'll understand dimensions and measures. We'll understand how to create calculated fields, because some fields, for instance, might come in. I'll give you an example. I was working on a data set recently, and I had to calculate force, and I used the IoT. So I was using sensors that I have to create a data set to be able to understand the impact of drop, and I wanted to know the force. So I had to create a calculated field to be able to do that. I was using another tool for that, but that's for some of the research I'm currently working on. And then you learn to add colors. Like I showed you colors just now. You saw the colors that were separating the countries and all of that. You learn how to add labels, how to format the visualization, how to export your visualization. So for instance, you might be writing your annual review, or you might be doing a presentation. Okay, you do some analysis, then you export those views, you export those visualizations into your PowerPoint presentation or into your Word document, so you can then present your findings to the boss. We'll learn how to do that. We'll learn about time series. We'll learn about aggregations. We'll learn about filters, because you might want to filter the data. You might not be interested in everything. You may just want to filter out male from female. You might be looking at just females. You might be looking at age range. You might be looking at a lot of things. You understand what filters are. We'll go through all of that. We'll learn how to load data. By the way, Tableau, you can absolutely load different types of data. Excel, CSV files, databases, connects to your Oracle databases, connects to SAP, it connects to so many things. It connects to some of your other big data tools. We'll also look at charts, how to highlight charts for visualization, and of course, dashboards. You will create your own dashboard. By the end of the class, everyone in the class would be able to create dashboards by themselves. You'll be able to create the maps, scatter plots. You'll be able to do that. You'll be able to grab Tableau and start to do your own data exploration. It will be the beginning of your journey around data visualization and how to tell a story with data. Now, you might be asking, what kind of jobs are out there that are around this? Now, I like this. This kind of highlights some of the key skills that you probably might be aspiring to from a career progression perspective. So, for instance, as a data scientist, I mean, clearly you've heard a lot about that right now. Now, it's not just one day you get there; it's a journey. But this is how you start the journey. So you start with your visualization, and you see the most interesting thing about it is that whether you're doing machine learning, you're doing data science specifically on just the analyzing the data, you must visualize data. You see what I mean? Without visualizing data, how then do you tell the story? So you might build fantastic models, you might do a fantastic prediction, but hey, you must be able to visualize the data. So you see, this skill set is a skill set that you cannot do away with. You absolutely cannot do away with being able to tell the story, to visualize the information. So again, you can look at it as a big data engineer. There are business analytics. You have people that focus in that area. You have people that also maybe when they start to play with it and look at the data and and all of that, you might decide, hey, maybe I just want to stick with just being machine learning expert. That's fine. You can build a career out there. You might be interested in the data part, maybe because it's fun, and then you want to play with it and you're able to show it and tell people stories like the way I like to do sometimes. Then you might be looking to be like a data visualization developer, building and using tools like Tableau, for instance, or business intelligence engineer, where you do quite a lot of both the visualization and probably also connecting dots around bringing other multiple data sets in, or a BI specialist or machine learning engineer or statistician or analytics manager. So you might be just a manager, also a manager that would want to manage people that have this, but you have to also understand it. You have to understand how the tool works. So that, I mean, when they come, you can direct them, you can lead them. You want to be a BI solutions architect, where you can then also provide guidance in respect to that. So there are different paths that you can decide to go, but one thing for sure, your starting point will begin to understand and learn a particular tool. Now, with learning that tool, you can begin to apply those concepts and then build up from there to then push into different other career paths. Wale, I think this is where you jump in.
All right. Thank you, Mike. Wow, that was. I was listening. I was like, this is like a training on its own. Wow. I have learned so much from you, particularly this section of IoT and how data and visualization, how they all come together. Thank you so much for your time. Ladies and gentlemen, this is an expert. Mike is an expert in this field, and you cannot just go wrong, by investing in this course. You can't go wrong with it. Thank you, Mike. And I think what Mike was talking about here, particularly around this beautiful picture that you've shown us, the data science, the big data engineer, become a business analyst. Business analyst specialist is for some of you that have had the opportunity to talk to. that you've asked questions. What this particular slide is trying to do is to paint a picture in your mind, so that you can see that, just being, a data visualization specialist or a BIA specialist, does not end there. There is a career in big data, and that's exactly what this is all about. So you can start from where you are, becoming a BIA, a business intelligence analyst or a data visualization specialist, and you can gradually work your way into other things. You can become a big data engineer, you can become a data scientist, you can go all the way, to becoming a BIA or a BI solution architect, so that's how vast, this big data, career is all about. So if you're worried or you're thinking, oh, well, I'm not sure, is this just going to be one off? Am I just going to be a data visualization specialist and that's it? No, you are totally wrong. As a matter of fact, you can be anything within this space. And the fact that, earlier on, Mike started by teaching us or telling us about what, IoT is all about. It's a new, how cybersecurity came to be and it became a buzzword, and everybody say, oh, cybersecurity, I just want to be part of it. That's exactly, what, IoT is going to do to us. I know that the name IoT might be pretty much everywhere, when you hear that word, Internet of Things, you're like, what is that? But I suppose that, not too far from now, by the time that they get the right buzzword for it, to qualify, that concept, then, a word that everybody can embrace, then, people will be looking for someone that could train them. And by that time, guess what? You would have been trained, you would have understood what it's all about. Chances are you have already started a career there and you would have been far ahead so many people, whilst other people were trying to, we need to get into this thing now. You are ahead, your chances are you're already here as a BI, solution architect. So the whole point here is we have the right course. We have the right individual that is training this course because he's so knowledgeable and talented in this area. And the fact that, listen, we have all the resource here at SMARTLearning to help you to become anything you want to become in this space. Apart from the training, the other part that we offer is the aspect of providing support for you. We help our students with CV review. We help you, assuming that you end up, investing in this course, you would get CV review from us. We will not write CV for you. It's important that I say that, but we would help you to review one. Myself and Mike, and there's a gentleman called Albert, we're going to be providing template for you that you would use in building up your own CV. And next, after that is when you secure an interview, which I know you would definitely do, we would also be able to provide interview support for you. We call it interview prep. And it does not matter how many times, you go out there to get interviewed. We don't say, oh, you only have, you only have to go for interview twice or three times. No, as much as you go out there, to get, to secure an interview, we will be here, to provide all the necessary support for you. We also provide what we call the on-the-job support, So I was speaking to someone earlier on, I think in the course of the week, and she mentioned to me that, listen, Wale, I've been in this career, for 14 years. And if I'm going to be coming into business intelligence analyst or data visualization, then I need all the support. And I said, yes, you have come to the right place, because we also do that as well. We will provide on-the-job support for you. We also provide mentoring, all right, or mentorship, if I can put it that way. So between myself, Mike, and also Albert, we're going to be helping you how to support you. We would hold your hands, basically, to help you, to be successful in this journey. And lastly, we also provide what we call the continuous learning. So the continuous learning is exactly what you're doing today. As a business, once in a month, we do what we call a webinar. And that webinar is free of charge for all of our student, where you can learn new trends, the industrial trend, things that you can take away and also, add to your CV. So you cannot go wrong with us. You cannot go wrong with Smart Learning, because this is where it is happening, and we have everything that you need to succeed or to be successful in this journey. All right, so that's exactly what we're going to be doing for you. Mike, any other thing that I need to cover before you jump in again? Mike? Hello, Mike?
I was trying to unmute myself. Your function didn't let me unmute.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes, nothing else from my side. You said it all. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Do you want me to? So earlier on, Mike was talking about the prospective jobs that are out there, and I think, listen, guys, you can Google these. Mike, could you flip the slide to me? Can you see my screen? Guys, can you see my screen? Okay, let's share my screen with you. Give me a sec. Fantastic. All right, I believe you can see my screen now. So earlier on, Mike was just talking about some of the jobs that are out there. Listen, guys, you can Google this yourself. All right. So this is just a Google search that I did today. And if you just go there, say, data visualization jobs, you will see all sort of jobs that are out there, both contracting job and also, for those, that prefer, to go into permanent job, So this one is posted 21 hours ago, 1 day ago. This one was 20 days ago. So, you see, it gives you a lot of comfort when you know that you're not just only being trained for anything, but, whatever that you've been trained for in Smart Learning, you can, go out there, because there are jobs that you can, apply for, So again, I've used, data visualization jobs as a keyword. And we also have as well, you could use business intelligence, that's another keyword that you can try out. So again, these are few jobs that are out there. And as a matter of fact, for this particular training, we are training you, to either become a data visualization specialist or to become a business intelligence analyst. So that is the aim. For some of our friends, some people have already signed up for this course. So if you're still thinking or you're in between, or you're not sure, I think with this presentation, we've been able to give you all the information that required to make an informed decision for yourself. So our telephone number is there. Please, by all means, give us a shout. This is that is one of our website, but let me share our Smart Learning website with you. So this is our website. If you want to, give us a call, that is the telephone number to reach us. That is the telephone number to reach us on. If you want to learn more about the course, under courses, go to intermediate and you'll be able to find the IoT fundamentals and data visualization. So everything that you need to know about this course, please, by all means, you could also learn here. That is, my beautiful picture and this profile as well. You can learn more about who Mike is and some of the information. These are all other related courses that if in the future you are interested in, please, by all means, give us a shout. And before I let you guys go, so lastly, you may just want to also know that the data visualization training will commence on the 18th of this month, which is, a week from now. We're coming into a new week, but in 2 weeks' time, we're going to be starting this training. Few people have enrolled. If you feel that this is for you, by all means, give us a shout. This training is going to run for 10 days, 2.5 hours per section. What it means that for each of the training days, you're going to be spending, or you have to give us 2.5 hours of your time for the training. It's going to be online, just as you have seen it today, how Mike, make a presentation to you, explaining what that is. That's exactly how the training is going to also run as well. It's online, and Mike is going to take his time explaining things to you. We assume that everyone that is coming from this course, you do not have any prior knowledge. So what it means that we will start from the scratch and gradually build you up from the beginning to the intermediate, and from the intermediate to the more advanced level. That is exactly what we're going to be doing. So the question some of you might be asking is, hey, Wale, what is, how much is this course? We have splashed this course, we have, reduced the price ridiculously, and it's only £325. It is only £325. That is how cheap the course is. All right, and exactly what you're going to be getting with the training and all the support that you need until you get a job. So I want you to do the math. If you're going to get this for £325, and you end up securing a job that's going to pay you 56,000, per annum, or you get a job that is going to pay you, 350 or 450 per day as a data visualization. So it means that, you're only paying me, and I pray that, you get that job. You're only paying us, so £325, even less than that, worth of your day rate. Okay, that is the worth of your day rate, and you can be in that job, for 6 months, 1 year, or even more than that. You can work out the math. Okay, so this is an offer that we're doing, is so that I can let you know, it's not going to remain the same forever. We will change our price after some time. So you want to take advantage of this, and register, for the training on or before the 18th of November. Just to also to let you know, the recording would be available. I'm going to post it on our website, where you can, listen to it at your convenience, and, again, go over it. And, it's important that, so for us as a business, we do not like people buying anything under duress. We don't want you to, say, oh, I don't know what this is all about, and I end up spending my money, so we don't want that. We want you to be informed, we want you to make up your mind, and there's a saying that they say, when preparation meet opportunity, success is inevitable. All right, and the preparation is you learning a little bit about this, and you coming to us while we teach you, and then together we can help you to be successful in this area. Just also to let you know, for those that have already signed up, if you sign up today, then what you're going to be getting from us, we will give you access to our back end. There are some reading materials that we already have. So on top of what Mike have shown you today, which is the video, we also have some reading materials that we're going to be sharing with you in our folder. So we have this thing in the Google Cloud that we were more than happy to share with you, so that it would help you to further prepare for the training that is starting very soon. So these are some of the reading material. They are lightweight, they are not overly complicated, things that you can consume easily. So for example, the 5 best practice for telling great stories. So Mike talked about telling great stories today. This material will further complement what Mike have already just, what Mike, taught you earlier on, so that you can come again to the training well equipped and ready, to get out there and start to earn, what is right. And when I say what is right, the right money. Okay, and that is what we want to do. So by all means, reach out to us, and we would be more than happy to help. So I'm going to open the floor in few minutes, because I do not want to assume that you don't have questions. If you do, please, by all means, we would be more than happy, to take your questions here, and we take it from there. So give me a sec, and I would open the floor, and you can ask all the questions that you have. Just give me a sec, and I'll open the floor now. All right, so the floor, you can unmute yourself, unmute everyone. Okay, so there's a noisy background there. I don't want to do that. If you have if you want to ask any question, unmute yourself, and we're more than happy to take those questions. Unmute yourself if you can do that, because there's a bit of noisy background there. It's just going to mess up all the recording that we have done so far. Can you unmute yourself? Okay, so Mike raised his hand up. Mike, you can talk now. Mike,
okay. Sorry,
right.
I couldn't unmute myself.
That's fine. That's fine.
Someone asked a question. He said, what skills would you say would be a prerequisite to be a good data analyst? Passion. That's just all you need.
I like that one. Okay, passion is what you need. Every other thing you need, we will cover it in this training. Every other thing that you need. So come with us, come on this training, being passionate, wanting to learn and want to succeed in this area. If that is you, then again, you see preparation, as with opportunity has come together, and success is inevitable. So come with a lot of great passion, and every other skills that you need, we would provide it. I think we mentioned earlier on, helping you with your CV, providing all the on the job support and every other thing. That's all you need to be successful. Mike, any other question there?
Nothing else from me. Nothing else.
Okay, I mean in the chat box.
None. That's the only one I saw.
Okay, guys, any question? Any question? Let us know. Someone said, are there certification in this line? Yes. Mike, do you quickly want to talk about the certification?
I would put up information on that.
Okay.
A couple of information around different certifications in Tableau.
Yeah.
And we'll be putting that up. Tableau tries to encourage people to show that you could actually present that most times, but it's not a prerequisite for the job. What they would ask you if you go for an interview is more or less, can you do this?
Yeah.
Do you have any repository of past visualizations that you built? And that's one of the things that we will do on the course. So with the various examples and things we'll try, you begin to build your own portfolio of visualizations that you can post to your public account. So Tableau has what they call Tableau Public. It's an online community of Tableau where you can see different visualizations created by people daily.
Fantastic.
Amazing visualizations from other people. So you will begin to build your own profile of visualizations that you build. And most times when people ask you about your capabilities, you can simply point them there. And then for the tool itself, because like we said, it's going to be hands-on, depending on if you have, for instance, Tableau gives academic people with academic emails free license for a year and can renew that after a year. If you don't have that, Tableau gives you 2 weeks access free on the Tableau tool, or you can, that's for the Tableau desktop, or you can use the Tableau Public. You can get an online version. So the online version is just simply the same thing, same functionality. You would have the capacity to do absolutely everything we're doing and follow on the course with the one online. So you're just going to be using it from a browser. So most people use that. The only thing is that when you finish, when you're saving your work, you are saving it in the Tableau Public, so which means everybody can see it, which is fine because the data sets, practice data sets we're going to be using are publicly available data. So there's no restrictions there. So
Okay.
It's also good.
All right, then. Thank you, Mike, for that. I hope that answers
profile. So everybody would definitely be able to be hands-on and follow along with the materials as we go on.
All right. Thank you, Mike. We have other questions here. So someone says, Ola says, does Tableau offer an advantage over Power BI? Do you quickly want to address that in 1 minute?
Yeah, so Tableau has, in my experience, I've seen that the visualizations that you get from Tableau are much prettier and more functionality with Tableau over Power BI. And Power BI, I've seen some, I have a friend that, they implemented a project with Power BI and he came to me that they want to redo it with Tableau. Now, the beauty of knowing one of these tools, like starting with Tableau, there will be absolutely no other visualization tool that you see that you will not be able to use. However, majority of the companies, and Tableau currently are ranked even on Forbes as one of the leading tools that most companies are actually going with because of their functionality and the integrations that they have. So most companies and most people go with Tableau, and then that. However, you might start to work in an organization, maybe they start off or they have both. But with your knowledge with Tableau, by the time you sit down with Power BI, you'll be able to find your way.
Okay, thank you for that. Just to answer your question again, Ola, for this particular training, we're using Tableau. All right. So if this is for you, then by all means sign up for the course. We're not doing Power BI now. It might be later in the future, but for this training, it is Tableau. All right. And I hope that answers your question. Then someone says, Adekunle Adewumi says, can we pay instrumentally? All right, this has already been, the price has already been splashed. But I understand that, people are in different place, in their finances. I'm more than happy to help. Give us a shout, so that I can help, with your with how you intend to make payments. So we're not a rigid company. First we want to give back to our community and want to help as much as possible. So if instrumental payment would work for you, please by all means, you have our telephone number there, give us a shout and we can talk about it. Then someone said, I can't pronounce your name because this is acronyms anyway, BES. I don't know what that is. He said, what is the delivery, weekend or weekdays? All right. So this training is weekdays, and it's usually the training will start in the evening. So the assumption is, people that have gone to work in the daytime, you're coming back in the evening, and that's when we're going to be training. However, I understand that some people work in the night. Okay. So if that is you and you're not able to, to join this section, then again, reach out to us. Let's see if there's anything we can do to help you. But this is not a weekend based. This is weekdays based. This particular one, we might do something in the future which is weekend if we have the right number. So if weekdays does not work for you and you want to do weekend, again, reach out to us so that I can discuss with Mike and see what we can work out for you. The other question here says, do you have an interview sample questions? All right. Mike is going to help. When we get there, I believe we will cross over all of this. So we're just only starting the training. The question around sample interview questions, I will leave it for when we get into the training. I believe Mike's asked something that is going to share with you, but we haven't started the training. I appreciate your question, Muturayo, but we have to leave that question till when we start it, except if you're already knowledgeable in this area and what you're looking for is just sample interview questions. But don't forget that, Tableau is all about practicality, data visualization. See, nobody's going to ask you what is data visualization. It's what you have done. And I think I like what Mike said earlier on, that, you could haven't been trained. You could create your own thing. You could create a portfolio, samples of, the visualizations that you have created over time, and that you can't lie, because it is practical. It's what you are able to do as opposed to what you are saying. You know what I mean? So again, Mike is going to help us with that when we get there. Femi said, how soon will it be realistic to start applying for jobs after this course with respect to demand for industrial experience expected by the employers? Good question, Femi. All right. So someone said, what do I need earlier on? And we said passion. All right. Because every other thing that you need, we have it, to be honest. All right. The techniques that you need to be better here, we have it. So you need passion. In terms of experience, good question. There are jobs that maybe you need years of experience. There are others that you don't need a whole lot. Okay, but what we intend to do as a business, with this training is we want to harness what you know first, where you are, what you've been doing in the last couple of years, and this is why, this is where our training is really, really different, because people, every other person, perhaps maybe you're in a job at the moment, and I don't know what that is, it would be interesting to talk to you, to learn about what you're currently doing, to see if we can harness some of those things, as experience for where you are going, so to answer your questions. We need to, Femi, we need to talk to you. We need to learn more about what you're currently doing. And to every other person as well, for anybody that wants to sign up for this course, we need to learn what you're currently doing, see if we can annex those things, for where you are going, and maybe that would help with the gaps in the experience. Okay. Ola says thank you. Kay says, does this course cover creating dashboard and report on Tableau? I think absolutely yes. So if you if you join early in the training, Mike gave a very high level overview of what this course is all about and what we're going to be covering. And if you're still unsure, please by all means visit our website, and under the courses, go to intermediate, and the first course you will see under intermediate is the IoT fundamentals and the data visualization. And there you would find all the information about the course module for this particular course and what you're going to be learning. Okay, so if you do that, that would be great. Then that question about reporting and every other thing that this course covered, you would find it there. Okay. Then what is the starting date for this course? Again, look at the starting date. You asked that question, is on the 18th of November. All right. Mike, am I correct, Mike? That's correct. Yeah. It's on the 18th of November. All right. So this is going to run for 10 days. So if you had 10 days to this, then you know how much time that is required. Okay. Someone said, Mutual says, with this course, can you undo migration project from Power BI to Tableau? Mike, over to you.
So there are different connectors with Tableau. You can actually migrate any information. However, specifically, if you have specific office challenge that you would want us to talk about, then that's fine.
Yes.
But you can migrate absolutely anything. There are different infrastructures based on people's and company background and what kind of repository that they currently house their information. Tableau prides themselves with connectors to be able to pull in data from different things, and they're also access. So we'll be talking about where you can actually access information very quickly, even while you're on the job, on most of those things that you're trying to accomplish.
All right, fantastic. That is spot on again, giving you some insight, so if you're already a Power BI person and you're going into Tableau or you want to learn both, then, Mike has just answered you. Connectors is the answer. And by God's grace, again, we're going to be exploring that on this training. Again, you cannot go wrong with this. So I don't know what you're waiting for. If you have not signed up, do that today and let us help you. Someone says, for anyone who doesn't know Excel, can he or she learn this? Can he or she learn this, or you must have knowledge about Excel? Mike is going to cover that as well. All right. I think you already mentioned it. I don't think Excel is, Mike, maybe you want to answer this question because I want to get into the mind of this individual.
You don't need to be a technical person.
Okay. All right.
To this. That's the beauty of data visualization. You don't have to be technical to jump into this. Anybody can actually jump into this. You just need passion, and what you'll be learning is to start to think analytically. You begin to be able to learn how to analyze information, how to apply yourself to be able to draw insight. And then you use this as a tool to be able to do that. So about Excel, I'm going to touch on the Excel there during the course. So don't worry about that. Even if you've never opened a screen in Excel before, we would open it together that day, and I'll give you sample data set for you to also try. And I will show you why I say you should open it the way I say you should open it that day. You would learn tricks with playing with Excel, and you'll begin to love it and see how you can prepare some sample data for yourself even while you're at home. So you can begin to also play with different visualizations, build your own profile to showcase to people. And with that, it will not be a matter of how many years of experience you have. It will be how much do you have to show about what you can do with Tableau. That is what will attract people to you.
Absolutely. I'm so enjoying this course. It's as if we have actually, it's as if we've started. There's so much that you can learn here, and you can never go wrong, with this investment. All right. So we've gone well over time, and we've gone, 28 minutes, above the time. And I want to say thank you for joining this section. I believe you enjoyed it. That's the reason why you stayed up till this time. I mean, if it was boring, I know, you would have just logged out and said, oh, what a nonsense. But thank God, that you find this informative for yourself, and you've learned so much. Okay. So let us help you further, sign up for the course, reach out to us. If you're having difficulty with payment, not difficulty, I know there's nobody having difficulty with payment, but if you need further information in that area, by all means, give us a shout, and we would be able to help you further. Don't forget that the training starts on the 18th of this month, and it is for a period of 8 to 10 days. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and enjoy the rest of the day. And if you go to a place of worship tomorrow, have fun, and we will be speaking to you very soon. Thank you. God bless. Bye for now.